Hi, I'm Tiffany. Welcome to Towering TBR. Today I get to film one of my absolute favorite videos to film, my favorite fiction of 2023. I read a wide variety of books, which will be evidenced by this list, so please like and subscribe if you want to see more of my bookish content. If you're interested in my nonfiction favorites, I've already posted that. I'll have a link in the cards and in the description below. Out of 118 fiction books, these are my top 10. At number 10, I am putting A Kind of Spark by Elle McNicoll. This is a wonderful middle grade book focused on a neurodivergent character, Addie. Addie is an autistic 11-year-old who is having a really tough time at school. Not only does she have a bully who makes fun of her for being different, her teacher is mean and really kind of blames Addie for her different behaviors. During a history lesson, they talk about women who were burned at the stake for being a witch, and Addie really identifies with these women. So she makes it her goal to put up a plaque or a memorial so that people will remember these women. She knows what it's like to feel different and othered, and is absolutely flabbergasted that people don't seem to care about what happened to these women all those years ago. This is a gorgeous story about friendship, about neurodivergence, and about some of the difficulties that autistic people go through. This was really informative and eye-opening, and I think a great book for kids and adults to read. My battery died, so I had to start that over. Sorry if the angle has changed. At number 9, I'm putting Independence by Chitra Banerjee Divakaruni. This book is about 3 sisters who are living in India during the India-Pakistan partition in 1947. During 1947, India got independence from Britain and decided to split the country in 2, Pakistan for Muslims and India for Hindus. And these 3 sisters have various troubles during this time. These sisters had really complex relationships with each other and with other people in their lives, and I was blown away by the sister dynamics in this book. She wrote them incredibly well and really informed me more about the partition, which was a historical event I didn't know much about. I loved this family, and I was sad when the book ended. Fortunately, she has a ton of other books out, and a lot of them focus on family relationships, so I will definitely be picking up something else by this author soon. At number 8, I'm putting A Pinch of Magic by Michelle Harrison. This is another middle grade, although this is a middle grade fantasy. We follow 3 sisters who live on this island with their grandma. Betty decides she and her younger sister are going to sneak over to another island to go attend a party. But her grandma catches them and explains that they have a family curse and they are not allowed to leave the island or they will die. She also then gives them their inheritance, the Pinch of Magic, which comes in the form of 3 magical items. Betty sets out to break the curse and puts into motion a bunch of events that were riveting to follow. This is a quartet, and this is the first book in the series. I have already read the second, and I'm eagerly anticipating the third. At number 7, I am putting Nemesis Games by James S.A. Corey. This is book 5 in the Expanse series. I actually read books 4, 5, 6, and 7, but of those, this one is my favorite. This is just a incredibly fast-paced space opera, epic story, and I love it. Since this is the 5th book, I can't really tell you what is going on, but in the first book, we follow a crew, and they find out that there is an alien virus that is in the hands of some wealthy people, and they are doing some very dangerous things with this. There's a lot of political machinations, and this is just a riveting, epic space opera. I still have books 8 and 9 left to get to, and I'm eagerly anticipating how it's going to end. Definitely recommend the Expanse series. At number 6, I'm putting the thriller Wrong Place, Wrong Time by Gillian McAllister. I don't typically read thrillers, but this one was absolutely fascinating because it had a time travel element. We are following this mom. Her 18-year-old son is kind of flouting curfew, and so she's waiting up for him to come home. And out of the window, she sees him with an unknown man, and she sees him fatally stab the man. She then runs out to try and stem the flow and figure out what's going on, but her son is taken away and arrested. The next morning when she wakes up, it is actually the day before. She is stuck in a backwards time loop, and her only way to get out of it is to figure out who the man was, why her son killed him, and what she can do to prevent it. It was riveting. I thought the pace was fast the entire time. None of it dragged. And I was very interested to see what was going on. I'm definitely going to read more Gillian McAllister in the future. At number 5, I'm picking East of Eden by John Steinbeck. This is a very difficult book to talk about because it doesn't sound interesting when I describe what it is. This is a classic set in the early 1900s about a family who is living in California. They have some very interesting familial bonds. These characters are just so well developed and so interesting. It's the perfect book. It's a character-driven book. Nothing I say is going to do it justice. Just trust me. This is definitely a book you should read. At number 4, I'm picking The Girl with the Louding Voice by Abi Dare. This is about 14-year-old Aduni. She is living in Nigeria. Her mother has recently died, and her father is struggling with money. He decides to sell her for a bride price to a man who already has 2 wives. She becomes his 3rd wife, but she is very unhappy about this and tries her best to get out of it. All she wants is to get an education and to become a teacher, but unfortunately, she has quite a few obstacles in her way. She is consistently mistreated by the 1st wife, and when events happen, the living situation changes, and it's kind of out of the frying pan into the fire. She is in yet another not safe situation. I love Aduni. She was such a strong character, and she really fought for every scrap of knowledge she could get. Amazing story, just incredibly wonderful. Can't say enough good things about it. At number 3, I'm putting Chain Gang All-Stars by Nana Kwame Adjei-Brenyah. This was a phenomenal dystopian book. We are set in a dystopian future where prisoners on death row have the option to opt into a fight-to-the-death program. If they can survive for 3 years, they will be released and their crimes will be forgiven. However, surviving in a gladiator-style fight scene for 3 years is an incredible accomplishment, and no one has really done it so far. We follow particularly 2 characters. One is Loretta Thurwar. She is just mere weeks away from hitting that 3-year mark, and we are just on tenterhooks trying to see what, if anything, is going to mess that up. We also follow Hurricane Stax, her lover, and a woman who really knows how to play up to the audience. These gladiator death matches are considered the new popular sport. They are televised, and we get a lot of reactions from fans and also from activists who think that this is incredibly barbaric and want it to stop. We follow mostly Hurricane Stax and Loretta Thurwar as they are on the same chain and as they are in a relationship, and how their relationship might change when Loretta gets free, if she can. This had a lot of really informational and important stuff about our current prison systems and basically the atrocities committed against these people that society doesn't seem to care for. It also talked about the celebrity culture of these prisoners as they get corporate sponsorships and become like fan favorites in this like reality TV show. It was an incredibly searing satire about our prison systems in the US, and it was impactful in a brutal and violent way, and it really had me thinking a lot about what we could do to change the current system that we have. At number 2, I am putting The Chrysalids by John Wyndham. This is a classic sci-fi story about a future dystopian world where mutations happen a lot. Mutations in plants, animals, and people. And there is kind of a religious overarching thought that these mutations are the devil's imitations of God's creation. And so because they are of the devil, they need to be eradicated, whether it's a plant, an animal, or a person. We are following David, the son of a local preacher who meets a little girl while he's out and about playing in kind of no man's land. When she gets her foot stuck under a log, he offers to help her and asks her to take off her shoe. She adamantly refuses, but after many attempts, she cannot get herself free and she must take off her shoe. In doing so, he sees that she has 6 toes on her foot and that she is a mutant. She is an abomination. He sees the humanity in this girl and starts to question what he's been taught. Yes, she has 6 toes, but she is like a normal little girl, like any of the others. And he's really starting to feel like his dad and the community at large are wrong, forcing these people to live on the fringes or kill them. I won't spoil the plot because this is a fairly short book, but I will say that it grapples with several really interesting conversations, specifically eugenics. And I was riveted the entire way through. The ending really surprised me. This is an amazing book, and I still think about it, even though I read it several months ago. Lastly, at number 1, I'm putting The Left Hand of Darkness by Ursula K. Le Guin. If you've been here, even for a couple of months, you'll know that this is my absolute favorite book I read this year, and I can't shut up about it. This is a science fiction story set on a planet called Gethin, which is also nicknamed Winter, because of the snow and ice. So we're following Genly I. He is an envoy from another planet, and he is inviting the Gethenians admittance into the Ecumen, which is kind of the galactic consortium of sentient beings. We follow Genly I as he is making contacts with different people, but their society is quite different from his. These are gender-neutral people, gender fluid, and they only ever have an identified sex during their reproduction cycle. They can be either male or female at different points in time, but when they are not in their reproductive cycle, they are gender fluid. And there are a lot of differences in their society and the society that Genly I comes from. He gets himself in a bit of a pickle and he has to flee. The whole book is incredibly interesting, has tons of philosophical ideas, but is also just a very fast-paced kind of survival story. I love the characters. I thought the writing was incredibly atmospheric, and with a fast-paced plot, it's a new favorite of all time. So definitely recommend you read it. I will say that there are quite a few words I didn't know, either made up or just words that I didn't know the definition. So I did keep like a glossary, and I would suggest that if you struggle with lots of new words. So those were the very best fiction books I read in the year 2023. I'm eager to hear, what did you read that you love so much? Let me know your favorites. Also, let me know if you're interested in reading any of my favorites. We'll have a chat in the comments below. Thank you so much for joining me. Bye.